Hey, we are live. Welcome everybody to Pontiac Power Hour. I am Buff from Buff's Garage.
Ray from Punisher Lamont's Garage.
And we are freezing our tails off here in the Midwest. It's negative 22 wind chill outside right now. So if you're not experiencing that, good for you, because it's not fun. I can tell you that.
No, it's not. I don't mind cold weather. I hate summertime, but this is a little bit extreme. I did not want to move to Siberia or Antarctica. And apparently
I read somewhere was that you? Antarctica was like negative something today, and it was the same as the Midwest.
Yes. It's like, what the crap?
Yeah, we don't want any of that. So as you guys saw, we obviously are bringing you more guests in December. It's all part of our Christmas celebration and giving back to all of our audience. Our audience has grown tremendously. We thank you all for watching and subscribing. Just to give a hint, we got somebody coming on the show next week, still booked, still planning on being here. So if you guys know what this is, hopefully you guys show up and enjoy the show. But we got a couple somebody specials for you tonight. We are going to bring in a couple of guests that we had that were, I think, just great guests early on in the show. They've both been really good to the channel, and both Pontiac guys.
Should be a good time.
I think it's going to be a good time. So with that, I'm going to bring in Dalton from Pole Bar Garage and Austin from Blue Core Auto and Racing.
Hello, guys. Everybody.
All right, so
just FYI, it's 43 degrees here still.
Yeah, so rub that in.
How?
We appreciate that.
It's still 43 degrees here.
Oh.
It plummets over the next like 4 hours from 43 to like 1. So like by 8 a.m. it's -3. So
It was
-5 right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet your beer fridge in the garage or the pole barn's pretty cold right now.
Yeah, it does. It becomes more of an insulator.
Yeah.
It's keeping shit from freezing.
Yeah.
Keeps the beer warm at that point. I love it. Well, let's hit the chat just real quick. We got so many in here, but I want to just hit the first few guys that were in here. As always, Hunter from Sand Mountain Ballistics. Let's see. Dean Stevenson is here. I'm going to get through them. Colleen Tebow. Testa Speed Shop. Pure Pontiac Garage. Jay from Irish Outlaw, who just got back from Chicagoland today, and it was, I bet, not a lot of fun driving all the way back. We got Mongrels from Canada. Cousin Mike's here. And we're just going to say a lot of others. Oh, I see Jeff from Two Hacks. He's here too. So thank you guys all for stopping in.
I'm glad Jeff's alive still.
Yes.
He seemed to be getting his butt kicked by COVID.
Oh yeah, you don't want the Rona, especially in Illinois land. They'll give you like 10 shots or something.
What kind of shots? You got to be specific.
I mean, it's Illinois. You know, who knows what's in it? Yeah. Probably get your tracking chip or something. I don't know. They're a bunch of liberals. Does that mean I'll ask Dalton? Does that mean you get a free Rona shot and an LS with every one? I mean, how does that work?
Oh, well.
Yeah. Probably got to stay away from that topic or you're going to get in trouble on the the YouTube
Oh.
gods.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. I knew it was coming. Libtard equals LS
How do
swap.
I kick Hunter out?
Oh, you can put him in timeout. Just like Dakota, his brother.
Now, hold on. Who's Hunter?
Sam Mountain
Mountain
Ballistics.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out on
So,
him. Sure.
Austin, where did you just come from? You were playing around with a M3 or M5. What was that?
Yeah. It's a local. Our little area where our shop is kind of weird. It's in the middle of nowhere, but it's surrounded by a lot of like automotive shops and race teams. So one of the race teams that we've done some small work with in the past just moved literally like 400 feet away from us, and we've done some work with them in the past, but they unfortunately crashed their M3 on the last event of Grid Life last year and went off the road and put it in the wall, into a concrete wall. So they've been waiting on our brand new chassis to show up, and it just showed up like Monday, I think. And they have to have the car entirely built, wired, ready to rock and roll on the track at Barber Motorsports Park in like 3 weeks in Alabama.
No problem.
Yeah. And he's
No
going to put an
problem.
LS in it, of course. So
Do you need
Well,
Dalton?
Huh?
Dalton could get it done.
I could get it done, but
just lower your expectations.
right.
you're gonna die. But you
Don't
know,
let the tech guys look at it.
right?
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to run the Holy Goat in negative 20-degree wind chill.
No.
Or
I
anything
haven't
below
even
40.
started that. Shit.
And I'll just say this for those in the chat, I don't want to hear hate about no Pontiac stuff tonight, because I really want to know how the Eagle's coming along.
Right.
I saw the last video come out. I mean, is it staying warm in this weather?
Yeah. So I spent the last week working on that Dodge pickup, actually. And I have the video exporting right now. So if I'm a little choppy, that's probably why.
It's holier than the goat, I think.
The
Or
Dodge?
was.
No, it just has like one big hole.
One big hole.
But yeah, the Eagle is probably what I'm going in next time on. Hang on, I just dropped the definition a little, see if that helps. But the Eagle's going in after that, and it needs a few things, but I mean it fired right up when it was, I don't know what, 5 yesterday. You know, I mean,
Nice.
it was cold last night, fired right up and pulled in the shop. So it should make a decent little driver, I think.
That thing looks like a blast, though.
Oh my God, it's so much fun. It's so much fun, but it's geared all wrong.
Well, you got the new spark plugs in it, but yeah, it's the wrong engine for the car, basically.
It is. I mean,
It works.
They're the same thing. I mean, a 4.0 and a 4.2 are basically
Right.
pretty much the same thing. Just, I mean, externally, but they both in the same hole. But
Yeah.
But the gears in it, it's actually an original automatic car. The VIN decodes to an automatic, and it's got a 5-speed in it. So that 5-speed's probably out of whatever the engine came from, Cherokee or something.
I was going to say some beat up Cherokee with no doors.
But so that being, if that was an original manual trans car, it would have like a 308 rear gear, well, final gear, and it's an automatic car, which means it probably has a 242 gear in it. So you can't, fifth gear doesn't even, you can cruise 60 miles an hour in third just fine. It's fine. You got 2 more to play with. You got to do like 80 in fourth.
It's going to be a land speed record car that you really don't want to try to put out there.
No.
It's falling apart as you're driving it.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Oh, there went another tech screw. Yeah. It's all good. Well, as much as I want to hear about the Le Mans, Austin, I want to know, how's your progress on the AMX?
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. Because you got 3.
Yeah.
Did you ever get the one to start, the backup one?
Oh no. Very much no.
Yeah.
Very, very much no. That thing is huffed. At the point when you need to use a slide hammer and an air hammer to remove the distributor.
You see that Dalton just perked up when you said slide hammer. He's like, what?
Yeah.
That's like his thing. Porta power, slide hammer.
Had to use a
He's
slide
really
hammer and an air hammer to get the distributor out.
Oh, God.
When you're at that point in time, you know you have a problem. And we were kind of wondering, like, why does this thing feel like it's cranking so slow? And it's probably because the oil pump had no, nothing driving it, so it was just crank on bearing. So it's all kinds of bad news. It does have compression in like 5 cylinders. So
That's fine.
we've considered, like, do you throw $500 at a cam kit at it and a distributor and new ignition stuff, which we already have, and see if you bring it back to life, or do you not and do something smarter, like take the 304 that's in my AMX that I have now and stick it in that car, because I already have my new 325 that's going to be done here in like 3 weeks. That's going to go in my car. So
Nice.
That's what I'm doing.
Ideally, it would have been, a quick little, let's spray some brake clean in it and do some YouTube magic and it fired up. No, not at all. Not at all. It's unfortunate too, because it's actually a really clean car. It's a complete car. It's one of those, like, it has all the original stuff that's still there. All the emissions crap from 1979, it's all still there. Everything's still there. It's just a matter of, apparently, the engine's huffed. So
Yeah.
whatever.
And that's
It's not like those things are expensive.
little AMXs. I mean, it's a Spirit, but you
Yeah.
know, like it's the same thing as my SX4. Yeah, I like that about AMC is they're the exact same car.
Yeah.
They're a Hornet at the end of the day, right? But
The nice thing with AMCs is, and everybody, and I was not an AMC person, honestly, before I bought that AMX. But the nice thing about them is they use, people are like, oh, they're really rare cars, but they don't use any of their parts for the most part. So, like, you can find suspension and steering and brakes, and like you can build it all off of Rock Auto for $1,000.
so my
if you need to replace all of it.
SX4, the SX4 kind of threw me for a loop because that is usually the case with anything AMC, but it has AMC specific front brake calipers on. I mean, they got
I remember.
an
Yep.
casting in it. And I've never seen that. I've always seen a Ford style with the floating clip. That's what I've always seen on AMCs that I've owned. But this had an actual AMC caliper on it, and there were 2 different options when I bought them. And same thing with the rear wheel cylinder. It had a specific rear wheel cylinder for the SX4 instead of, any other one. I thought that was kind of bizarre, just considering it's AMC. Usually they don't go out of their way to make something different.
Yeah. Well, especially at that late of a point in.
Yeah, sure. Just about dead by then. So
What can we still find that's in a box?
right. Maybe they
Not
have
saying anything bad about AMC people. I love my AMC.
No, absolutely.
I will
But they're
say
just
that
like, hey,
AMX
we
is fantastic.
got a whole bunch of recycled Chevy parts over here. And they're like, oh, let's put that in there. That's in the new car.
I think, Dalton, you can probably attest this too. Like, there's definitely something that's a really great experience about being able to drive the absolute hell out of something that you don't have a lot of money or energy into, and you could just have a great time with it.
Yep, that's the maximum on the pie chart. That is fun, dollars, and car. It has the biggest chunk of fun of all of them. So,
Smiles per dollar is very high.
The ratio of smiles per dollar per car is excellent.
I don't know what you're talking
it makes
about.
other people happy too. Like when you drive by, I come ripping by in that AMX. People are just like, "What in the world?"
But
I'm sure the same thing with the Eagle.
The Eagles is the same way, and it's just that body style that they have. It's like I don't know, like, is that the Mad Max car? Like it's a Intercept.
I get that a lot.
You get that a ton in those, but it's not. I mean, it doesn't even resemble it. But yeah, it's a hatchback.
Yeah, and I want to just touch on that. So, if you guys haven't seen, Dalton put out a really great article. It was on Roadkill Customs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really personifies the lifestyle that honestly what we grew up with compared to what we're doing now. And what you guys are talking about fits us perfectly. So whether it's a Pontiac, it's a Ford, it's a Chevy, I don't care what it is. If you've got your expectation set that I'm going to take this car home and I'm going to nut and bolt every little bit of it, and I'm going to put the biggest this and that on it, and it's going to have every option, just like your article says, next thing you know, you got a car that's been sitting on blocks at least 5 years, maybe 10, maybe your whole life. Someday I'm going to get to it. But if you bring it home, change the plugs, put some fresh gas in it, and go just take her for a spin, you're enjoying it. And it's just, that's what this is about. Drive the beaters, drive the crap, because at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun driving it than it is looking at it every other day, sitting in the garage.
I've restored cars. I mean, but well before YouTube was a thing. I mean,
Right.
I used to actually take my time and do things somewhat correctly, and now I realize I don't have to do that. But, I would still. I didn't have the money to restore the whole car, so I'd get it running, get it driving, then do one component at a time, interior, body paint, which is always the longest one. But just kind of work your way up there, take baby steps until you get what you want.
What's the phrase? Don't get it right, get it running.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Sure, that's right.
And Ray mentioned it before we went live. Fixed is fixed. You cut the van apart, to fix the floor in that new Dodge you got.
Yeah.
Fixed is fixed.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
That's mint.
fixed at all. I mean, the whole goal with that, right, is to butcher that truck is so effed up. I mean, that cab is so bad in that truck. I mean, it needs everything from the
And yet
trunk pump to the outside.
And yet it runs and
it does
drives.
run.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even when he goes,
lower the expectation.
But
we can make a fireball with it. We can make it run.
The whole goal for that truck with me is to get it not right, because I'm trying to sell the truck for $1,000, right? I mean, I'm not going to put 40 hours into making it correct and going and buying a bunch of sheet metal and floor braces and rockers. It's just not worth it. But if I can get it to the point where someone could go buzz it around the block and, fall in love with it and then want to fix it, at least someone else might save it down the road, even though I particularly could care less about it. But you didn't hear that from me.
Well, here's my view on it. It's not sitting in that field anymore.
That's right.
It was going to get scrapped. So, I mean,
So if somebody drives it and enjoys it, that's
even
good.
That's-
full
And
parts
that's
off.
going back. People give me a lot of crap for how I built the 63 Grand Prix I got, but it was going to get scrapped this year.
right.
And I think
My
it's a
AMX
pretty
was
cool
on its way to the
car.
scrapper.
Yeah, I think those are really cool cars to, maybe they shouldn't be on the road, but we're going to get them on the road. And we're going to drive them and we're going to have fun with them.
Your car's really cool right now, isn't it?
Yeah, my car's
Mine?
outside. My car is outside in -22 getting new patina with ice and snow. Because I'm about to announce the no-name build once John puts the big orange paper up. And so the garage is currently prepping for that.
But John's going to be announcing that. Hang on, I got a text from him.
The 30th.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
It's not tomorrow?
No,
I thought he said 30th.
it is
Okay.
the 30th. Yeah.
All right.
I saw the track had just gone up for sale.
Yeah, I seen that.
that-
My buddy sent it to me. I was like, damn it. And everybody's like, you and Buff should buy it. I'm like, I don't have, $750,000.
Hey, if they join the channel membership, I'm sure for that $1 a month, we can get there.
You gotta have that Cletus money.
Which he's fighting for his track right now.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you though, I wouldn't buy that track because it's only an 1/8 mile and
Exactly.
it's set up so weird to me the way
So wasn't it a 1/4 mile with no shutdown before?
that
No, I don't think that could have been.
No, it was always 1/8.
room there. I don't know for sure, but it didn't look like
maybe way back in the day.
If there wasn't houses on the other end, you could,
maybe they built houses over it. Yeah.
I mean,
unfortunately, that's the way a lot of racetracks die. Is you end up with housing around you, whether or not they end up on the end of you or around you. They complain about it. We have it happen all over the place here. Like we've got a National Trails Raceway has been there for generations, and now the people that are moving in next to there are complaining about the fact that it's too loud. You got to be done by 11 o'clock on the weekends. Like you moved in right next to a racetrack that's been here for like 70 years.
Yeah, what'd you expect?
Right.
That killed KCIR up here.
Yeah.
And that was an NHRA track. It was a big track, and
then
a bunch of well-to-dos moved in around it and went, "Oh, it's loud here." Really,
and that's probably why Topeka, even though the revenue's not always there, Topeka's track is saved because it's literally right next to the military airport. So
it's loud anyway.
No one's going to live there.
It's only loud on weekends.
We do a lot of racing down by our military airport, also, just usually with a flashlight, not with a tree.
I mean,
I'm just saying,
takes all kinds. All kinds.
Well, that's what you get when you close all the tracks, right?
That's exactly.
It's going to come, and people are going to
not confirming or denying or condoning any type of activities that way.
We just race.
We race in Mexico. Do you remember 66 Speedway, that dirt track here in Joplin, Dalton?
56?
66 Speedway.
Yeah.
It was a dirt track here in Joplin, and
I remember
popular. They built whole houses all around it, and they shut it down. First, they made them put mufflers on their dirt track cars, and that wasn't good enough. So then they shut it.
So over by Dalton, they have a track like that.
Green Valley.
Track. Yep, that's it. Green Valley. They've got to run mufflers.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Yeah, they do sand drags out there. And I was looking at doing it with a car a couple of years ago. They're like, you got to put mufflers on it. I'm like, I'm not putting exhaust on this piece of shit,
Muffler costs more than the whole car.
I didn't have that on my street car.
Yeah, mufflers.
That's one thing I want to get into next year. Is I haven't been to like any of the dirt stuff in such a long time. I grew up around like outlaw sprints and stuff in rural Ohio, so like I got to see those guys all the time. I haven't been to a dirt track race in forever, and it's such a like that grassroots motorsports thing is literally like it is what keeps this hobby alive and what keeps the passion alive is the easy entry, low cost type stuff that you can get into.
Yep.
A lot of those guys can spend some crazy money, but it's attainable.
Idea for you, Buff, possibly Ray. So 2 tracks here are doing something that I've talked to them about doing for a long time, and they're finally doing it. They're starting an enduro racing season, a whole season for enduro cars. That's Butler and Nevada. And they're going to be that an enduro class is literally anything, and it's 100 laps per race. So it's really more about can you survive as opposed to being fast,
Right.
And they're pretty well regulated on power and stuff. So if anybody could be competitive, but you could go out there and run a 88 Crown Vic, or you go out there and run an 02 Cavalier. It doesn't matter. If you drive the Cavalier, you're probably going to die. But these are the risks you take. So
and these are like rubbing racing kind of stuff. You're going to get a few.
They're going to kind of do this, I got last time I raced in one, I got in a pretty bad wreck, and one of the kids broke his arm in the other car because they let passengers ride. And there's people
fun.
riding around, case of beer in the car, just good times. But it's the best actually. But yeah, he got pretty screwed up, and they just kind of shuffled him off the track.
So I think
got rid of him.
Maybe we go see Kevin from Junkyard Digs and get a Grand Prix that I can actually beat up, and we bring it back and enduro race it.
Oh, you go buy you something for $200-$300. They're out there. I've got mine lined up, and it's gonna be interesting. So,
when does that happen?
It's a whole season, so it'll be April probably through August at least.
When the ground thaws, yeah.
And that's a race a week. So
wow,
a race a week.
Yeah. Well, they alternate these 2 tracks. Are just doing it. Hopefully they can rope some more in, but I've leaned on them forever. Like, dude, it's so hard to like even to build like a pure stock or something like that. Man, I mean, by the time you build it to the rules, you don't have a lot of money into it, but you're going to have 4 or 5 grand into your car,
If you want to be competitive,
and you're going to lose.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to need 10, 15 grand just in your setup.
And you're going to win $100 when you win. And that's,
Right.
that's what you want to do.
Still worth it.
Oh, for sure. Like if that's what you're into, like I'm into just driving cars around. So I spend a lot of money to just drive some damn car around. And so I get it. Like if that's your hobby, that's what you dig, then yeah, that makes total sense. But if you're just a casual guy who just happens to have like say a 70 Buick Skylark that you're going to paint and make look absolutely immaculate on camera and from the stands and then take it out at an enduro track and destroy it, if you were that kind of guy, then this is really good for you. Not that I'd ever do that. So
No, not at all.
I'm definitely not going to whistle a diesel a 70 Buick Skylark.
No, never. Now I'm trying to thinking, this hidden honey hole. I found a new hidden honey hole, and he's got a Cadillac limo. I think that would be cool. If it's not a nice limo.
They
If
won't let
nice
you run
one.
a limo, I asked.
Oh, dang it.
You can't run full-size trucks, no school buses. I asked on that. No RVs.
All right. So
Yeah.
just
What about
legit
short
a car.
buses?
No, I think that might qualify as full-size truck. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could ask.
So big 70s full-size car.
If you want to, I don't know, because you want to be maneuverable, right? So one of the
Right.
tracks is a really small track. It's a 1/8 mile oval. I mean, it is a tiny little track. And then the other one is a 3/8 mile oval that I've touched 70 miles an hour on in a 72 Torino I was running around. And so, it's you can pick up some speed. I don't know if you want a big old land yacht, but
That's
You'd be
true.
the battleship cruising around on the
maybe
track.
like
you're going to live.
90s Ford Taurus. That would be kind of cool.
Something indestructible, like
say
Chrysler Imperial, or like a I don't know, like anything with a 3.8 in it. I mean, Grand Prix, Monte Carlo, whatever. Those are pretty much, except for the 4L60, probably head on out.
I used to race pure stocks at Nevada. So I know that track really well.
God, it's so tiny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I ran on it once. It was, man, it was like it was started and it was over.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Definitely. But I've done figure eight racing. That's something you should do before you die.
Oh,
Right, because it's like a derby in a race.
Or right
You
before
just
you die.
You don't know, and then all of a sudden you lose your bodily fluids as you
I
crash
got
into somebody else.
T-boned in a Nissan Altima.
There's a rap song in there somewhere. There's got to be.
I won the race, but I had no idea I didn't even know I was in first place. I had no idea what was going on because it's freaking chaos. Everybody's going through, and I'm like, I seen this guy. I'm like, I'm not stopping. No, neither did he.
He's gonna flinch. He's gonna flinch. No.
At Butler, they did these things called crash and dashes, and it was a small, like 1/8 mile little oval. They'd cut the track in half, and it was a circle with a dog leg in it. So you'd have to make 2 turns, well, 4 turns total, inside of this circle. And the whole point of it was a moving demo derby, and I did 3 of those. I brought a Ford Contour down, and I drove the Contour home like 2 hours away. There was nothing wrong with this car. Drove it home, stripped it, gutted it, and brought it down there and thought I was even going to stand a chance. I got hit all over. It tore the whole rear suspension out of the car. I mean, I had whiplash for like a week after that. I was driving it around, and it was just dragging the rear half of the car with the front wheels around. It's still moving, though. I placed.
Do you guys have demo drags where you are?
Oh, I've heard of them.
Where they're kind of blending like demolition derby plus drag racing.
Wait, so it's like quarter mile, but
yeah, but you have to hit.
Yeah,
you have to hit at least once. You have to wait till like after a certain distance off the line, but you have to hit at least once. So it's a
This-
combination of like, do I smash into the other guy, or do I just kind of like try to bump him and run as fast as I can?
This sounds like
you got my interest now.
this sounds like, hey man, we got a case of beer and some old junk cars.
Hey,
plus
why
some
don't you
drag
watch
race.
this?
I mean, you get people that are not necessarily like that are not junk cars though. Like if you just take a little hit, they're quick. But you've got obviously it's like demo derby rules where you have like no glass and all that kind of stuff removed out of them. But it's they started doing them here about a year and a half ago, and I haven't been to one yet. I was just kind of curious since you guys clearly get a little bit more rowdy than I do on that kind of stuff.
That is so lucky. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would go find me. There was a Chrysler New Yorker on here, a '72 New Yorker. You're already starting off like 10 feet ahead of them, just on the start line. But and then you nail it. First thing you do, just drive right into this, kill them, and you're done.
They can't place if they're dead.
That's right. Murder.
I'll have to see when the next event is because we've been a couple of guys that are local to me. We've been talking about trying to get it, but it's one of those. Oh, I've always wanted to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this, and you never can. But apparently, it was hilariously fun last year, and I would love to get involved in one of those.
We do boat races. Do you do boat races where you drag a boat behind? They do that at Grain Valley, where you drag a boat.
Okay, yes, that's where I saw it. Yes.
So you
drag a boat behind your car.
Yeah, your boat on a trailer. Yeah.
So you go get a junk boat because they're everywhere and free. So you'll get a junk boat, attach it to your car or whatever, and you have to. Whoever finishes with the most boat wins.
Could you imagine being the track guy that has to clean that shit
Oh
up?
my god!
Fiberglass everywhere.
You want to make that the last event of the night because nobody wants to race on that.
Hell no. Their track tires are expensive.
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
For
I
good
just want
ones.
to point out in the chat that we got flat tires and misfires, and Todd helped me a lot with my 63 Grand Prix. He had some hard to find parts for it, but it sounds like he just got a 64 Catalina limo that was converted in 64. And just if you guys don't know the guy, he has a Power Stroke powered, I believe it's a 64 Pontiac. So it's something to see. I'll put his link in the chat there for everybody if you want to go check it out.
That's actually right up the alley of something we're doing next year.
Oh,
we've not officially told anybody at all about this.
Okay, don't tell then.
Yeah, we it's one of those things of like we have a thing and we have another thing. Why don't we just put the two things together?
That sounds a lot like, I don't know, 63-ish Pontiac era, maybe coming out in 64.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, we have this 389 sitting here. Let's throw it in this, car. See what happens.
This is going to be considerably more smoky, more tall, more off-roady, but still Pontiac.
Kind of like a Weston type of thing.
Have you seen Off the Ranch? He's got that Hemi or that Cuda that he put a Cummins in.
Yep, similar, very basically along the same lines.
He gets more hate than I do about my LS 1220. Mopar guys are freaking brutal, man.
Yes, they are.
I think they are the worst. And
Mopar guys are extremely particular about purity.
Yeah, if you put a Gen 3 Hemi or something newer in a older Mopar, I mean, it's still Mopar. It's not like putting an LS in a Pontiac because they're not the same.
Right.
Like it's Dodge, but
oh no.
Even if it was like a 383, not even like a real in-demand vehicle, but if you pull that out and put a third gen in it. I don't know if you guys have seen Kale of Cam Racing, but he did the Dart with the LS in it. And he's got a charger project he's doing right now where he's bringing his charger back to life in his literally storage locker. And he's kicking around the idea of doing a third gen Hemi in his too. So
I thought he was going big.
Yeah, me and him's going to get together. His car and my car would go really well together.
Yeah.
So
I would like a big block too, though. I mean, that would be a fun one.
He snuck that into Mo Party.
Yes, he did.
Paulie's Mo Party with the LS in it. And he had the the dash cam. People's walking up. Oh, they're getting mad. I was like,
Hey, Holly makes the
stuff.
parts, so you know.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah. Well, you snuck the goat into the Ford one, so there you go.
They wouldn't let me. Yeah, but they wouldn't let me park it in there. Probably because I tried. They yelled at me a lot. I tried several times.
Trust me, it's all Ford right in there. That's some Ford over there. Got a little Ford on it. Yeah, it's fine.
400 Ford.
Yeah, there you go. Nobody knows the difference.
Nope.
All right. We got all kinds of new people coming in the chat too. So guys, if you have any questions, I saw one for Dalton for the they said AMC, but you know, how's things going with that? We kind of talked about it, but
It's she's coming along and runs pretty good. It still ticks or knocks or whatever's going on inside of there. That's why I pulled it in, was to pop the valve cover off and run the valves on it and just see if there's something funky there. But if there's not, I'm going to chalk it up to being a Jeep engine and just drive it till it blows up. That's
and
game
then
time.
go get another one for next to nothing.
Well,
as long as it keeps making noise, you're fine, right?
Correct. Yes. As long as it continues to make noise. But the I guess it is a 4.0 in there, so I would be awfully tempted to go find a 258 and pull the crank out of the 258, because assuming it's knocking, probably has lower end problems, right? So why bother refinishing the 4.0 crank? Throw the 258 crank and rods in there. Or yeah, I think no, you just use the crank actually. You use the 4.0 rod and then you get a 4.6, something like that. I don't know. Never done it, but it seems easy. So why not try it? And a cam, and throw a little cam in there, it'd go good with the headers and the 4-barrel that's on it. And probably, I get a lot of people say you should put a small block in that. Like, why? I could put a 160 horsepower turd smog small block in it, or I could have this 200 horsepower 6-cylinder that just bolts in.
Right, and it's fairly inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean they're just as cheap to pull as a small block.
Well, speaking of not expensive, so I saw your PRI coverage there, Austin, and you were not the only one. In fact, I think Motor Trend just did an article on that small little industrial 4-cylinder that stole the show. Now, granted, I don't even want to know what it costs, but
we don't know.
That thing seems to have gotten the attention
yeah.
of the whole auto industry.
Yeah,
and it was back in the corner, as I understand.
Yeah, it was. I literally walked past the Blueprint booth hours and earlier, and I didn't care. It's a little 4-cylinder sitting in the corner. I don't care what it is. And I never thought anything about it. And Rich actually called me when I was on the entire other side of the building and said, you need to go over and look at this real quick before I left. And I ended up getting like 15 minutes of video, like right before they turned the lights off in the show. It's going to be interesting. My TikTok video of it went to like 190,000 views.
Yeah.
It went like completely nuts. And like of all the stuff you put on TikTok, okay. But I was messaging with the Blueprint guys about it, and it's gone all over the place. It's based on their 3.6 4-cylinder industrial motor. So like airport tugs, forklifts, that kind of thing. And it's modified to be able to run an LS head. And it's running the stat numbers that they talked about in the video are with a small industrial turbo at like 1,800 RPMs, but it made like 340 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque.
Chugging along at 1,800.
Right, but that's with a camshaft that's designed for,
right.
super low-end power. So
it's just constantly churning.
Right. So if they put a camshaft in it that's going to be designed to actually flow, plus the LS heads flow really well. The other interesting thing is it'll run Ford heads also. It doesn't.
Yeah, I saw that.
LS. It'll run a Cleveland or a Windsor head.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll run a Cleveland or a Windsor head as well. So there's a lot of potential out of that. We'll see how that works out. They have no pricing or availability yet because they didn't really intend on building it until everybody at PRI went nuts about it. And especially
now they can't. Then they can't not. They have to build it.
Now they have to build it. So I think that somebody said something about the fact that they're going to come out in the next couple of days with pricing and availability for it. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well,
but I mean, to the point of like your Eagle, or like a rock crawler, or like an off-road vehicle, like
Jeep, anything small.
Oh man,
or the Opel GT I looked at. I mean, come on. I mean, you can't fit much in one of those things, but that would.
Yeah,
I got a 74 midget sitting in my yard right now.
Small block.
that's a lot of the circle
Small
track
block.
guys and roundy round guys were like, this is a perfect motor for us because it's just built to take tons of abuse
Well,
forever.
I couldn't afford that engine, but your enduro race, that sucker will just sit there and churn all day long at 1800 RPM. It'll be fine.
They'd have to have a class for it. I mean, that'd be, to be fair, but
fair.
it's super cool. I mean, if I could get my hands on one, I would put it in anything. The GTO.
Yeah.
I mean, I would.
Let me just hey, Blueprint, if you're watching, because we
Right.
actually do get some people that are pretty big that watch the show. So these guys need one of those little engines to put in everything. Just kind of bounce
100%.
it around. Yeah.
Send me one on Tuesday. I'll put it in something by Friday. Put it in the GTO. There you go.
I went 4-cylinder swap. That's for fuel mileage. Tough to come.
You will not only get views, but then we can, proof of concept. It'll work in anything.
And you guys can manage my funeral after somebody murders me.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Can you
we have a
imagine the
Gazer
confused
war to
looks
see
you
who
get?
gets the Holy Goat? Or
That's already in the will. It's taken care of.
The looks
Poor
you would
JD
get when
with
you
the
pull up
jerk.
to any car show. When you pop
Yeah.
the hood and you have this little tiny engine that's about that long.
It looks like
What?
a
And you go, but it has 500 foot-pounds of torque. That's very
Right.
Pontiac-like.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are like, it's the Iron Duke, come again. Like, well,
Not
Well-
even at all.
The Iron Duke sucked.
I mean,
What are you talking about? Don't be hating.
There's
mean,
a freaking cult following for that little piece of crap. I don't know why.
My mail truck shows up every day at the same time with that little Iron Duke in it, and it just chugs right along.
Iron Duke's a good motor, but
Yeah, let's just move on. Hey, Dudes with Wrenches, who we had last week, is in the chat. He popped in and out there.
So that
Hunter
that
says his
Fiero-
Iron Duke will lift the front wheels. How in the world? All right. This one's your son, right? Piero guy?
Yeah, I was going to tell. So the new project I have in the shop, that 3.8 liter supercharged Fiero, is his. Yeah, this thing's going to be.
those are fun.
I actually didn't realize how fast they were when he talked about buying it, or I may have tried to convince him otherwise. So
We have a customer of ours that runs low 10s with his.
yeah, I
Wow.
don't want to hear that. He's 17.
Oh, okay. So
It's
so here's the
terrifying.
deal. If I can find enough people to help me get all my cars to wherever No Name is, there's going to be a 3.8 supercharged head-to-head between that Fiero and my new freebie Grand Prix. But I got to do a little work to the Grand Prix. We're going to kick it up a bit.
So this
I don't know.
Fiero is real nice. So he bought it. Some guy spent a lot of money on it. Basically, all I got to do is wiring. And he cocked all the wiring harness, everything. We had to order the upper dog bone mount, just a few other little things. But the car's super nice. And of course, I have to make sure that it's good to go. So I'm gonna have to go test it out for a while
Yeah, for
before
sure.
I give it.
Right. You can't. I mean, he's a child. He's a kid. He doesn't need to just be let loose with that. Dad needs to. It's kind of like toys on Christmas. You got to play with them a little bit and then give them to the kid. That's how I look at it.
Fieros are. I've seen a lot of them at Pontiac Nationals. Unfortunately for us, Pontiac Nationals is 2 hours from us every single year at Norwalk. And I've seen a lot of really, really cool Fiero builds over the last couple of years. Lots of money put into them. They look freaking fantastic. That's an interesting kind of a Renaissance platform where people they were okay before, but there's a lot of people that are going back to them now and putting some serious money into those things and making them look pretty cool.
I love Fieros. I think they're
If you
cool.
can, absolutely. If you can fix just the subtle little things that need to be tweaked, they're cool cars.
And a 3.8 supercharged is perfect for those things. It's sketchy as hell, but it's super fun.
I mean,
there was one on Marketplace that had a North Star, and then
I was going to say that was the big thing. Everybody North Starred them.
I hate
and it's
North
like,
Stars.
Why would you do
just
that?
right. And if the transmission would hold, you could grab the 5.3 out of the newer Pontiacs that they had, the front wheel drive one.
Yeah.
But the transmission won't hold up.
Those are also a little harder to find too.
Right.
Yeah.
Than a crappy North Star out of a whatever.
Yeah. There's plenty of those. Everybody's
3/8
getting rid of those. Yeah, 3/8 more than enough.
I take it.
How many of you guys have worked on a North Star? I know. Look, I say I have. Anything that the starter is under the intake on is not good in my opinion.
It's
including the Toyota.
That's where
even
when
Cadillac dealerships won't work on those anymore.
Right. You just go back to that engineer and you just kind of just squeeze a little bit and like, what do you think?
They did run pretty good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, first time I drove one, I was like, this thing hauls ass for a front wheel drive grandma car. But
I will give them credit. So I when I was probably 19, me and a buddy bought a Mary Kay Cadillac.
Oh boy,
pink.
Nice.
Bought it from an old lady, and she said, "I don't know what's wrong with it or whatever." Gave her like $200. Hopped it, fired right up. It ran great. Didn't overheat. Sitting there, we're like, "Shit, there's nothing wrong with this." And we drive out down the road, punch it, lay rubber, and immediately spikes to 280 degrees because it lifted the cylinder head off because the bolts were stretched on it.
Yep.
And I didn't know that at the time. I was just stupid. We were like, well, screw it. Let's just go destroy it. We tried. I mean, we tried to kill that thing for a week straight. I mean, we chopped it into pieces. I jumped it. I mean, I got like 3 feet of this Cadillac, and it hauled ass, and it was pegged. I mean, maxed out on temp the entire time. And it never died, man. I mean, we'd take it up, hose it off with the garden hose, fire it back up again, go back out.
And it still rides like a Cadillac.
It was great. I mean, the air ride never died in it. But what only thing that killed it is I jumped it into a brush pile and it tore a hole in the gas tank.
Oh no!
Then we set it on fire.
That sounds like a story that ends on fire.
And then I would never imagine that Dalton would set something on fire. I just don't believe it. I'm gonna throw the trivia up, guys, and we can keep on chatting, and we'll just have trivia going as well. Boom. So as always, we got Super Clean sponsoring our Pontiac trivia. And we're going to pick a lucky guest out of the crowd today. Hopefully, actually get some answers right.
I'm gonna
and win a pack from Super Clean.
I'm gonna push Super Clean for a second.
Okay.
I fixed my axle seal on my Pontiac, and my wheel was covered in gear oil. And I actually used that spray around the inside of my wheel. It kind of looks like Kaboom or bathroom cleaner, but it actually cleaned it like new clean. I was very impressed with it.
Super Clean kicks ass. I cleaned that whole Dodge truck with it.
Yeah, I saw that. It's I like the stuff. I definitely use the stuff. We got a lot of different things we always use on whatever, but it's nice that they're out here sponsoring us and getting their product out and cleaning up our dirty cars. Well, before I even read the trivia, what year did Pontiac first debut the 455? It seems unanimous. We got a couple of people throwing up some other guesses, but
I'm going to go with A.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
That was a straight 8, right?
Yeah. It was a big block, wasn't it?
Oh, you're going to start a whole new bunch of hate.
War.
Hey, Dalton comes in with the LS sucks behind him, so
don't start that war.
So yes, it was C1970, the original 1970 Pontiac 455, big block, and that's in there as a joke. Was good for between 360 and 370 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. There's that Pontiac torque right there, because that's what we love about them.
Do you know why?
Why?
Do you know why the 455 came out in 70?
Because I would love to hear what you have to say. I did read some literature on that, but tell us why.
Displacement ban in General Motors. Small cars couldn't have more than a 400 cube engine, and big full size cars I think were limited to 430 cubes up until then. And so in 70 they lifted it, and that's where the 455 grew out of. 454, you get all the 455s, the 454, all of them, all, and then available in all the cars in 70. Too little, too late.
Yep. Well, yeah, there was some big block cousins out there trying to steal everything. The Pontiac came in there with that 500 foot-pounds of torque and just stole the whole show. All right, we've already got everybody answering this one too. Awesome. So 2005 Pontiac GTOs. Just because we know we got some LS lovers in here, it came with a 6-liter LS V8. What is the factory horsepower and torque? And is it 375? Hey, calm down now. No, is it 370 horsepower, 400 horsepower, 350 horsepower, 429? We got several with the B. There's a few A's and
I like
C's.
Sand Mountain with the. This is a Holden question.
I mean, he loves to give me crap about that one.
I still
But
actually.
what did he
will own
answer?
one
Oh,
of
he
those at
answered
some point in
C.
time.
Which one? The 2005 or the Holden?
The 6-liter GTOs. I will own one of those at some point in time.
I would own a Holden.
I would own a Holden. I want the Ute, man. That's definitely something I'm interested in.
You got a while
All right.
till we're allowed to have those here.
So the answer is B, 400 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque. And it was in all different kinds of GM cars. But, you know, people that love to talk to Pontiac engines, we got to admit the fact that after 82, and even before that in the 70s, they were kind of adopting everybody else's engine in their cars. But all right, so here we go, guys. In 64, for the GTO, Pontiac utilized a very unique color, now considered very rare, salmon shade with a hint of orange, along with an early version of a metallic. What's the name of that color? We're going to test our real Pontiac guys.
I've never owned one with paint.
What's that?
I've never owned one that came to me with paint, so I have no idea.
Right. Yeah. Because the goats, you know, like desert red or something.
It's blue,
Rust.
actually. That car's blue.
Desert red oxide, maybe?
Yeah. Iron oxide.
Yeah.
Metallic iron oxide.
With a hint of gunpowder residue.
And rust.
Just a shade. So I'm not, how do you say that? Grenadier
I think
red?
it's that one.
Yeah.
Yep. Carousel red, marimba red iridescent, or sunfire red iridescent.
I like Sunfire red iridescent.
I don't
All
know.
right.
I know it's not carousel.
Yeah, you know, I knew people would know that one, so I had to throw it in there. All right, we got all kinds of answers all over the place.
A.
And the answer is D, sunfire red iridescent. It actually kind of looks like an orange gold. And they say if you get it in the light just right, it's got a shimmer to it. But salmon color, hint of orange. And the former marketing maven Jim Wanger said that Pontiac had a problem actually trying to apply that metallic. It wouldn't come out smooth on the car. So you don't see a lot of them out there anymore. They either got repainted or they went away.
I really like
There is a few out
dog
there.
dish on that 64 GTO.
Oh yeah, the rims with the matching paint and the dog dish.
What are those actually called? I've heard them called poverty caps. I've heard them called dog dish.
Hubcaps.
Just hubcap.
They covered the hub. A wheel cover covers the whole wheel.
Oh,
And I don't know if you guys got it on a big screen, you could see it better. But you know his license plate says 3 Deuces on it. And I really like that car. So, speaking of the 3 Deuces, the first muscle car is widely accepted as a 64 Pontiac Tempest GTO, selling 32,450 units in its debut year. But how many of those were equipped from the factory with tri-power? I'm trying to test my Pontiac boys. I know these guys.
I don't know for sure, but I'm going to go with B.
Sand Mountain Ballistics, a hubcap covers the hub. A wheel cover covers the wheel. That's
There you go. It depends on if you buy it at the O'Reilly's or the Walmart.
They don't cover nothing because you hit the first bump and they fly off and hit somebody's car.
They go. Oh wow, we got answers all over the place. We got D's and A's and
I'm feeling this is an A.
B. No, C.
I think it's
Okay.
B.
all
There
right.
was quite a few.
Gosh, they are all over that.
B
Let's
is
see.
just a complete guess because I have no idea. But
The answer is B. 8,245. 64 GTO came standard with that 389 cubic inch 4-barrel V8, but you wanted to bump up that horsepower. You put the 3 2-barrels on there. She's a beauty.
I wasn't guessing. I really knew that because this is Pontiac Power Hour and I'm one of the hosts on the show.
So
I
you
knew that.
absolutely knew that. Yeah.
Or you have the answer sheet.
He does not. It's got it's right in front of us. I don't have the answer sheet. It's a guess when it pops up.
So here's a question if I could ask.
Absolutely.
Anybody who has done the EFI conversion to the tri-power Pontiacs.
Like 3 2-barrel
Yeah.
EFI.
3 throttle
I don't-
bodies?
Yeah.
I can't even afford one.
I was just gonna say why. I mean,
Just
for
from
the
being
power.
around Streetcar Chronicles trying to get the 2.
Yeah,
throttle
there's
bodies
a lot of
lined
people
out.
who are trying to keep that tri-power look. And
It
you're
is
running
cool.
a triple
It,
setup.
it's no doubt it's a cool idea. I'd like to see it done.
There's a guy
Yeah.
doing it. He's in the Pontiac groups on Facebook. I've seen him
Okay.
on there. I don't know if he has it running or not, but I have seen it. I mean, somebody's doing it.
Well, if they're doing it, I'd love to see their numbers too. Not just the pocketbook, but what he's putting down.
Probably the same as a 4-barrel.
Yeah, probably.
No benefit.
All right. So in 64, you could get you a GTO package added to your car to your base sticker price. What was that package, or what did that package cost? That's the question. In 64.
I'm going with group here on C.
Everybody's
I'll take
going
B.
C. All right.
I think it's B.
I think it's B.
Well, let's just roll right into it then. Boom. You could have one of the first, technically supercars back then, but we call them muscle cars now, for a whopping $295.90. You get the entire Gran Turismo, and yeah, it's not quite fully written out there, but you could get it for $295, which is $2,200 today. I would pay that today to upgrade whatever I bought.
And let's just say that a Tempest and a GTO today, that would be a very wise decision back then.
In your car value.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I got for today on that, guys. I just want to thank everybody for playing. Thanks Super Clean for sponsoring it. I always love to do the trivia. We're going to have to come up with some interesting trivia next week. And
Got to stump the master next week.
we're gonna try to bring. It's over here. Somebody special. I flat out all the ads and everything are going to go out because we put them out once, and he had to cancel, so he might have to cancel again. But if you guys are hanging out next week, we're going to do our Christmas special next Thursday, 8:00 Central Time, 8:00 p.m. Central Time, and we're going to have Mike Finnegan from Roadkill, Finnegan's Garage, and just about everything else he does. So Faster with Finnegan, for sure. So if you guys, want to come hang out with Mike Finnegan, he'll be here next week. But gosh, we had so many people in the chat today. We were well over the 30s today. And every single show we are growing. So we thank you guys for watching. We thank you guys for the subscription. And just keep coming back. We're going to keep getting better. We've got more guys lined up, more new guests coming in, and a lot more Pontiac trivia. So
and a
Thank
whole show of concept cars just for Hunter.
That is going to happen, Hunter. So it's coming. We'll let you know ahead of time so you can tune out if you need to. But I want to thank our guest, Austin. Thank you for coming in, buddy. We appreciate you coming back to the show. We love having you. Dalton, you know, you're always a friend on this channel. We appreciate you and all your Pontiac love. And with that, I'm going to say that's good night, fellas.
Later, everybody.
Have a good night. Merry Christmas,
See you guys.
everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho. Yep.
Gotta hit the button.